This is the plaintiff, Lara Sessler. She says she purchased an adorable Wheaten Terrier named Sadie from the defendant's store, and after a few days, she noticed the poor thing was leaking urine. Turns out she had a bilateral ectopic uterus, which means her uterers aren't connected to her bladder. The poor thing has to wear diapers, which have to be changed throughout the day and night, and the defendant owes her $5,000, the amount she's suing for today. This is the defendant, Mike Mangiarcina. He says the plaintiff called him 2.5 months after the purchase of the puppy, complaining of a urine problem. His vet confirmed the problem with the pup. He offered to give her a new one or to refund her money, but she insisted on a $5,000 operation, which wasn't even guaranteed to cure the problem. He has no obligation to pay for that kind of procedure and is sure the judge will agree. He's accused of selling a defective dog.
All parties, please raise your right hand. Be seated, come to order. Litigants have been sworn, Your Honor.
Thank you, Douglas.
You're welcome, ma'am.
Lara Sessler, you are suing New York Kennel Club and Mike Mangiarcina. You're the owner?
Yes, sir. Yes,
okay,
ma'am.
Oh, you already started off bad. for $5,000, you say you predict that you will be out $31,000. Okay, because according to you, he sold you a sick puppy. Tell me what happened.
Okay. Good afternoon, Your Honor. My husband and I purchased our first home on September 1st. We moved in of last year. We wanted to add to the family, so we went to our local puppy store and purchased a Wheaten Terrier. This was October 8th for $1,300. Then after speaking with the defendant, he assured us that he does not get any of his dogs from puppy mills. So we felt assured. We purchased our puppy and we brought her home.
Okay.
At this time, we started noticing, the dog leaking urine and having urinary problems. We thought maybe she was just being a puppy, and we sought advice from 3 different veterinarians. They suggested that we try incontinence medicine. They said they've never seen a dog this young with incontinence. Usually it happens in older dogs. So we started the incontinence medicine. We were trying everything. That did not do anything. They suggested that we might have to do invasive surgery, that, it
What
seems...
was wrong with the dog?
They said that they couldn't tell where it was. This was actually, his vet did an x-ray. They couldn't find out where exactly it was, but they did confirm.
What was?
She had bilateral ectopic ureters, which means that they were not connected properly to her bladder. She was leaking urine directly out.
So what was it they couldn't find out where it was? Because that's in the same place.
They couldn't find out where it was leaking from. It was medical terminology.
They couldn't find out where the leak was. Okay.
So we elected to do the surgery. And at that time, before the surgery, I notified the defendant that, this is what was going on. It took us a couple of months to figure out what it was. We weren't quite sure. And now that we figured it out, we're going to go ahead with the surgery. And I asked him, if he would contribute towards the veterinary bills, So.
And what did he say?
He said he would offer me a new dog. And I said, well, what are you going to do with our dog? We've already grown attached to our dog. We're not giving our dog up. We're clearly going to move forward with this surgery. And then he offered me, in the alternative, the amount that he paid his dog broker, which was $600. And when we went to go pick it up, he wanted me to sign a document that settled all future claims against him. And I had done a tally of our damages, and it was almost $7,000 in medical expenses, so I wasn't going to agree to that. And then I have, copies of every, medical visit, procedure,
Hand
etc.
my bailiff, please, all of the medical records for the dog. Do you have a picture of the dog?
I do.
Can I see it?
This is when we first brought her home.
I don't know where.
Oh, they come up here?
Yeah.
Yeah, they should be able to.
So that was her as a puppy when we first brought her home. This is her. She has to wear diapers every single day.
Really?
Every single day. So I have to pay.
Is she always wearing diapers or wears them at night?
She wears them most of the time when we're home, when she's walking around the house. But during the day, we don't keep her on because we don't want her to get infections when she's created during the day. And this is her. Then you could see there's, urine on the floor.
Did the dog have the surgery?
She had the surgery.
And was it successful?
It was successful in that it fixes where the urine is going to, but typically 40 to 60% of dogs have secondary incontinence issues because these dogs have never used their bladder before. They're using these muscles for the first time, so she continues to have incontinence and will have to
Is
be
that
medicated.
gonna go away or no?
No, she'll be medicated for the rest of her life. And I also
Does she require more surgery?
She may require more surgery.
Does
and
the medication stop the problem, or she still has to wear a diaper?
It improves the problem. But she
Does
still
she
wears
still
a
wear
diaper.
a diaper?
She still wears a diaper. I do have also.
Because you have so much white furniture?
She's only allowed. Oh, and she gets bathed every day. So this is only after bath and diapering. So I do have letters from two.
Do you work?
What?
Do you work?
I have a full-time job.
I don't know how you're doing this. I mean,
I
the
come
dog is
home-
beautiful,
I
and it's
know.
a huge
We-
sacrifice. I don't know how you're doing this.
I come home during the day to let her out and take care of her. It's a lot of work. She's a special needs dog. And we're committed. So I do have 2 letters from the surgeon, one from the surgeon and one from our vet that verifies the amount of medication she takes, the diaper wearing.
Out of curiosity, do they use the words unfit for purchase?
Who?
Let me see the letters from your doctor.
Okay.
Let me hear from you. So
Thank
she
you.
calls you and she tells you what is going on.
Thank you, Your Honor. She called me about 2.5 months after her purchase. I haven't heard from her before that time, and informs me that there's an issue with the dog's urinating constantly. I had asked her at the time, had she seen the vet? Had she seen my vet? She said she saw my vet, and agreed with her vet that this requires a special, surgery. I said I would do anything to help you. Let me communicate with my broker and the breeder and see what they're willing to do. It's past the 14 days, according to New York State agricultural law.
What did she say when you explained to her that New York law requires her to bring up a congenital defect within the first 14 days after the sale?
She said,
She probably said, I had no way of knowing.
She was disappointed and had no way of knowing, and I felt terrible. And I felt terrible for the dog, and I felt terrible for them. And I don't want this court to believe that I was cold-hearted. I did everything I could to help. She gathered.
You didn't do everything.
Yes, I did. No, she gathered.
You got $600 from the breeder.
She gathered.
And you would only give it to her.
Well, there's
if
a reason
she
New York's-
I'm talking. You would only give it to her if she waived her right to sue you, which is smart. It's smart. It's good
Yes,
business.
Your Honor.
But I wouldn't say you did everything you could. You offered her $600 in return for not suing you, which is generous. Because what am I supposed to do with this New York law? You offered her more than you had to, I guess, but it's not everything you could.
And I also offered her another puppy from a different breeder. And Your Honor,
What's she gonna have 2 puppies with a special needs dog?
I want the court to know, this is from a top veterinary journal that says that breed, specifically that breed, is prone to that situation that
Oh,
it
really?
had.
Let me see that. Had you read about the breed's history or this propensity that he says is?
I had not. I read about the breed. I had not read about that propensity until it
After?
happened, and then I do have information about where this particular dog came from.
Go ahead.
As do I.
Hold on.
So, my husband and I relied on the defendant's statement. He assured us that none of his dogs come from puppy mills. I have, the breeding certificate of pedigree here says that it came from Iowa. We contacted non-for-profit organizations as well as the USDA in Iowa and have pictures of the grounds where our dog was born. They house over 1,000 adult dogs. Their feet never touch the ground.
Meaning that they're in cages?
They're in cages and their
Okay.
feet never touch the ground. There's an
How do I know that? Because you say so? Like, do you have some article or something?
I do. I have emails from the president of the Friends of Companions in Iowa, which is a non-for-profit organization, and then a separate Iowa organization.
Let me see what you have there.
Sure. There have been a number of reports filed against him, although
Against who?
As to
Against that company or him?
against both of them. I
Okay.
have complaints against both parties.
Okay, and what happened with the complaints? Were they investigated and they found against him?
I
or
don't
no?
have results. I just have complaints filed with the New York Department of Agriculture that they purchased sick dogs from the defendant.
How many?
at least 2 over the past couple of years.
How many years have you been in business?
5.
In addition,
What happened with those complaints?
Welcome back to the People's Court. Harvey Levin here. What's the best place to get a dog? At a pet store or at a rescue type place?
A rescue.
Why?
Because we have so many dogs that need homes. So pet stores, they're selling them for an over profit. Too much.
Okay, what do you think?
I say a pet store.
Why?
Because I used to work in one, and I know they regularly inoculate the dogs and make sure
Yeah, but
that.
there are also puppy mill problems at some of them, right?
Yeah, but then you have more and more.
Which dogs are better? Dogs at pet stores or rescues?
I would say pet stores.
Oh, God, you're so wrong. You're so wrong. Oh, I got to tell you why you're wrong. I'll tell you what. I'll tell you why you're wrong after the judge rules, okay?
Okay.
Going inside the courtroom.
Well, I've never been written up or fined by New York State Agriculture.
What happened with those complaints?
Nor the SPCA. Well, I'd have to know which ones they are. But, Your Honor, when a puppy leaves the store, and New York State stands behind us, it's not uncommon for puppies to have parasites or worms. We treat that for free. If they have a cough or a cold, we would treat that for free. Hereditary or congenital things are unforeseen. I'm not a vet, and it's up to a licensed vet to deem that the puppy's unfit for sale.
How does a person who buys a $1,300 dog protect themselves from this? I guess the answer is just like when you buy a used car.
Yes, ma'am.
And you have to get it inspected by a professional because you don't have X-ray vision, you don't have the knowledge to figure. If I ever go out and buy a $1,300 breed, should I take it to the vet for X-rays? Is that it? Like, how does one, just because if you have 14 days to come up with your complaint about a congenital defect, and remember, first of all, my heart bleeds for you. I feel very bad. I feel particularly bad because you've got this dog in a diaper in your beautiful new house with white furniture, and it's so time consuming, and that you obviously are a good pet owner and a loving person because your immediate response to this was, I'm going to nurse you for years with a diaper, which is lovely. I'd like to think I would do the same thing. I got to be honest, I'm not sure. I mean, you're a way better person than I am. All right? So my heart bleeds for you, but I don't write the law. I just got to follow it.
Right.
And we have a problem, which is that you have 14 days under New York and most other state laws will give you a limited amount of time to come up with a congenital defect. What do I do with that? Tell me what to do. I think it's awful. I think that you know what I want it to be rewritten to? 14 days after a congenital defect is discovered.
Yes. Yes.
That's what it should be.
Absolutely.
With due diligence. Add the phrase with due diligence. Because if you don't discover it because you're a lazy pet owner, you never take your dog to the vet, that's one thing. But it's crazy. It's crazy.
Yeah.
But what do I do?
I don't know. I have something else.
The best argument you have is this. So I told him I didn't want to buy a puppy from a puppy mill. I said, well, it's not a puppy mill. But there's no legal definition of what puppy mill means. So let's look, okay, well, you say it's a mill because there's just too many dogs. I'm sure that discussion didn't come up. Just the term puppy mill was used. And so you have something in your head of what that means. He has something in his head. There's no legal definition of the phrase puppy mill. So that's not a warranty that he lied about or some such other nonsense. What do I do with the 14 days? I'm begging you. Tell me what to do with the 14 days because I hate it.
I can give you something else.
Give me something. I'm dying for something to hang my hat on.
The defendant also is currently advertising on his storefront window 5-year health warranty written out in large letters. Where's my 5-year health warranty?
I don't know when you bought one.
It's in your folder.
Huh? It's in her folder?
It's in her folder, and it specifically says that the 5 years covers coughs, colds, vomiting, diarrhea, leptospirosis, Lyme's disease, and that's what it covers. It doesn't cover hereditary or congenital issues.
But, I mean, inducement of consumers into your storefront with 5-year health warranty.
I'm sorry. Are you a lawyer?
I am.
I can tell. Oh my God, I can smell lawyer. I can smell it from a mile away. Okay, first of all, show me your contract where he induced you in there with a promise that congenital defects would be covered, because that is something for me to hang my hat on.
I didn't sign a contract though.
Right. Let me ask you this question. Do you have then, since you didn't sign a contract and you can't prove that he promised you some congenital defect coverage, how are you going to prove to me that that's what he promised you? Because we both know it isn't. He never said to you, I'd cover congenital.
He verbally assured me that none of his dogs come from puppy mills. I have a video of the actual mill that my dog came from.
And I stand behind that.
Okay, we're done. And it breaks my heart. Breaks my heart. But I think that if you're a lawyer worth your weight in salt, and you probably are, you know why we're done, and that I have no choice. My verdict in this case is for the defendant. Good luck, folks.
Well, so let's find out what the plaintiff thinks about this. Are you satisfied that the judge rules that he really didn't do anything wrong? Here, stay right next to her.
Of course not. I think the judge is going to have a hard time sleeping tonight after that verdict.
I know. Well, she's only because she's empathetic, but according to the law, what do you expect? What do you expect to happen?
I don't know. The way that it was going, I thought maybe she would rule for the reimbursement of the dog. That's what it sounded like.
All right, so how is the dog doing? I had a Wheaton for 14.
She's so sweet.
I had a Wheaton for 14, then I had the second Wheaton for another 14.
She's so sweet. She's such a good girl.
Yeah. Diaper or no diaper?
That's all that matters.
Diaper or no diaper? It's still a Wheaton.
Exactly.
All right. Okay. Good luck with the dog, and head right down this way. All right. Come on in here. Put yourself in her shoes. How would you?
I feel horrible about her dog being sick and that she elected to go ahead with a very expensive surgery that wasn't guaranteed to work. I wanted her to have a new puppy from another breeder, and she didn't accept it. And then I offered to do what I could, and she didn't accept it. So I do understand. It happened to my dog, and I'm sorry.
That's it from the courtroom, Harvey.
Okay, I promise I tell you why you're wrong. Here's why you're wrong. I am telling you, I do a lot of work with animal rescue. Dogs that are rescued, I'm telling you, they never forget. They know what you did. And I know that sounds weird and crazy, but it's true. And there's a connection you have with these dogs, and they are grateful in ways that you just wouldn't believe until you do it. That will do it for this case. Litigants for the next case on the way into the courtroom right now.